If you think just because the title says an advice from a Christian woman, so I'm about to tell your spouses to tolerate your nonsense, then you're in the wrong video. A lot of you make mistakes of telling your spouses every little thing about you. Whether your boyfriends, your fiancés, your wives, like there are important things you can tell your spouses, like your genotype, your blood group, your health history. Those things are important. Don't tell your spouse all the sons of pharaohs you've had sex with. Flee, run, jump, hop, suspend in the air, vanish. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, and this is Time with First Lady. And today's video is going to be a very educative one because I noticed most of our ladies and gentlemen, because this video is not just for the ladies, tend to make a lot of mistakes when they get married or they're in a committed relationship or they want to get married. Okay. I'm about to tell you don't so many things that you're not supposed to do when you're in a marriage or in a relationship, in the process, or when you're already in it. If you've already made some of these mistakes I'm about to talk about, no problem, we can always rectify it. I'm not sure it is that late. When I was about to get married, or when I got married, I got a lot of advice from friends who are close, some young, some old, some single, some married. And I felt that these advices were so important that I share it with you guys. If you think just because the title says an advice from a Christian woman, so I'm about to tell your spouses to tolerate your nonsense, then you're in the wrong video. I wrote most of the things down so that I don't tend to forget them. Because sometimes I do a video and then I go and lie on my bed and I go like, oh, I should have said that, you know. So now I try to, whenever idea comes into my mind, I'm just going to pen it down so that I don't forget. So if you see me looking down, just going through my notes to make sure that I actually talk about every single thing that I need to talk about. Let's begin by me saying that a lot of you make mistakes of telling your spouses every little thing about you. Whether your boyfriends, your fiancés, your wives, like there are important things you can tell your spouses, like your genotype, your blood group, your health history. Those things are important. Don't tell your spouse all the sons of pharaohs you've had sex with, the number of abortions you've had, how good the sex you had with your ex was, or how bad the sex you had with your ex was. All these things are not important. Honestly speaking, some of you tend to talk too much. End up making mistakes. Men are hunters. They like to hunt. You must keep a little bit of suspicion in you. Some of the things are there. When they even catch you doing, they say it is not you. Now you people like talking too much. It's not everything that you must say. You must learn to keep your mouth shut, because these things they will end up coming back to bite you in the butt. They will use it against you whenever it needs to be used against. So anything that you don't want to be reminded of, don't tell your spouse. Just keep it to your head. It's for their business. Another thing I like to add is family secrets. Just as I said, okay, family secrets. There's certain things that's in your family you're not supposed to tell your spouses. Sometimes you end up telling your spouses so many things about your family to the extent that they lose respect for your family. For me, I feel like your family are people that are supposed to come in when things go south. And if your husband or your boyfriend or your wife or your girlfriend is not shy of your mom or your brothers or your siblings or your uncles, then you haven't done your homework well. You've probably gone to talk too much. And When things start behave coming going south and you need somebody to pop some sense into his head, you can't find any family member to help you do that because even though they're willing to help you, your spouse won't listen. Why? Because you've gone to spoil there. Learn to control your tongue. Learn to control your mouth. Not everything must be said. In case you're married, this may sound really, really bad, but I'm still going to say it. If I let me read it. Don't pity a man no matter how small he ends. Don't pity a man no matter how small he ends. And if you decided to be with him knowing how small he ends, allow him be a man. Allow him pay for stuff. Allow him be responsible. Some men feel they are men when they pay for stuff or when they take care of their family financially. Allow them to do it. Both of you can decide to put your monies together and build a house. Or you can just buy a land, divide it into two. Let your husband build his portion, build your portion. By the time you are done, you can just build twin houses. By the time you are done, you have one in your name, your husband has one in his name. When it is done, you move into your husband's home together with your husband, and you and your husband use yours to rent. Apply wisdom. But still, he'll be providing money at home. You must allow him take care of his responsibilities. Otherwise, you will regret it. Honestly, I don't mean to be mean, but if you really think about it carefully, you understand where I'm coming from. If you're married, treat your in-laws right. You can love them from a distance. In fact, you can love them. But always remember that your in-laws are your in-laws. And you are married to their son or you are married to their daughter. If things go south, they will support their daughter or their son and they will leave you. Treat your in-laws like family, alright, but be careful. Not everything about your marriage must be told to your in-laws. The marriage is between you and your spouse. Don't allow a third party into your marriage. Whether it is your husband's mother or your siblings or your husband's siblings. No. Three is a crowd. Just the two of you must learn to put your house in order. Treat your in-laws right, but don't let them penetrate into your marriage. Don't allow them call the shots in your marriage. If your husband wants to buy you a gift, if your wife wants to buy you a gift, make sure this gift is in your name. Mind you, in the court of law, gifts are not to be shared among spouses. Yeah? So when this thing is in your name, you don't end up sharing it with your spouse. So long as it's a gift, make sure your gifts are in your names. When your husband gives you something, make sure that thing is in your name and vice versa. Never in your life stay in the same house with your in-laws. I love my in-laws to death, but I don't think I want to stay in the same house with my in-laws. Not that they will not treat me right. They would. But like I said, the marriage is between you and your spouse. And in-laws will probably be watching you very, very closely. And things that are not really a problem, they'll come and complain. Let me give you a vivid example. My mother spoils my husband rotten. Rotten. So there was a time when I was in my mom's house with my husband. My mom came to meet my husband in the kitchen. Come and see this woman complaining, asking me why I allow my husband in the kitchen. I say, ha, honey, pick your things. We are going back into our house. If my mother spoils you, me and my husband, we have our understanding. You and your husband or you and your spouse will have your understanding. But in-laws tend to behave differently. You understand? In my case, my mother was pampering my husband, but it will bring me problems because I know me and we have an understanding in our marriage. So make sure that you don't stay in the same house with your in-laws. They will end up putting their nose into your business, which maybe they may do it out of love, but it will end up bringing problems. The next thing I will say is never leave a dream for a man. How do people do this? Just because you're married or just because you're in a committed relationship, you leave a dream for your spouse. Why do people do this? Honestly speaking, if your spouse loves you, your spouse would like to fuel your dreams. If your spouse loves you, your spouse will love to motivate your dreams. Don't leave a dream for your spouse. Some men tend to tell their wives to stop working when they get married or when they're in a committed relationship. Ladies, never do that mistake because they'll get tired of providing every single thing for you. You must try and have something you can call your own. So if you own a business, if you are climbing higher in your field of career, don't stop it just because you're getting married. You regret it. Which will bring me to my next thing. Never leave your business for your husband. You know, like I said, have something you can call your own. So you handle your business. Before he came into your life, he also had his business. If he didn't have a business, both of you should come together, try and open a business for him. Don't leave yours for your husband. There's this saying in Akan that they say, a woman a warrior and a pet, which basically means what's for me and what's for us are two different things. Food for thought. For the ladies, love somebody, marry somebody who loves you, but not somebody you love. You can love the person, let's say 30%. There has to be that attraction, you know. But make sure you don't love the person more than the person loves you. Especially the ladies, because you tend to behave in a very, very silly way when you love your spouse more than they love you. Unless maybe that one can advise it. Please don't love your spouse more than they love you. Honestly speaking. Because you will tend to behave really, really silly. That is why in the Bible said, women submit, men laugh. But the Bible knows that we would end up behaving like fools when we start to laugh. My next table I'm about to shake. Your husband's friends are not your friends. They'll be calling you our wife, our wife, our wife, but they'll be giving your husband or your boyfriend side checks. They'll be condoning his evil behavior. They'll be fueling it. Oh, are you the only person who is faithful? Are you the only person who is married? I grew up with a lot of boys around me, so I know exactly what I'm talking about. Your husband's friends, you can love them and respect them from a distance, but don't ever in your mind think that they are your friends. If you're in a polygamous marriage, not that I recommend it, but if you're in one, your co-wife isn't your friend. Eh? Your co-wife isn't your friend. Both of you can like each other from a distance, but don't be friends. Learn this and save your life. If you decide to be friends with your co-wife, no problem, but let there be a barrier. Okay? Let there be a barrier. Never ignore red flags. They will not change after marriage. They will not change during the marriage. They will not change in the process of the marriage. Red flags are God's flags of telling you, flee, run, scatter, hide. But my sons of Pharaohs, my daughters of Eves will not listen. You will go inside thinking that this person will change in the process. You are really, really living in the fool's paradise because it will double. Whatever bad behavior this person is exercising, multiply it by 100 million. That's how much you're going to receive. So if it is a physical abuse, emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, mental abuse, and you think that this person will change when you get married, I pity you because they will not change. I know it's difficult when you've been with somebody for so long and you feel you are so much in love, but you being in love doesn't mean that you are supposed to be tolerating a lot of these have something doing before you get married, okay? Have something doing when you're in a relationship. Because even if the person tells you that the person is going to take care of you, I feel like sometimes the person will just probably just get tired. Have something, if it's an online shop, if it's something small that you can do, just have something you can do in order for you to have something you can call your own. As somebody who is probably in a marriage or in a committed relationship, I also advise that you must have savings. Females especially tend to be in abusive situations or abusive marriages or relationships maybe just because they don't have savings. Try and save as much as you can. Try and save and keep it for a rainy day. When I say rainy day, I don't mean children's school fees. When I say rainy day, I don't mean when your husband needs money, go and remove and give it to them. Because like I said, allow your husbands or your spouses be responsible. When I say rainy day, I mean when it's time, when it is life and death matter. That is when you tap into that resource. Always, always, always have savings. Another thing I like to say is too much forgiveness. Certain things are there you can't forgive, certain things are there you can overlook. But it's not always that you have to forgive easily like that. Sometimes you must not forgive easily because forgiving easily brings up a lot of problems. Which brings me to my next thing. What if your spouse cheats on you or your husband or your wife cheats on you and decides to buy you a gift to say sorry? Never accept it. Because when you do this, they will think at the back of their mind that, oh, all I have to do is just buy a gift for Vanessa and Vanessa will forgive me for cheating. No, 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 no. That doesn't work over here. First lady doesn't forgive cheating. That is my deal breaker. Maybe yours is different. But honestly speaking, if you tend to forgive your spouse because they cheated, by all means, please forgive. But don't accept a gift as a means to forgive. Okay? Maybe in the future, after you've forgiven in the future, you can give the person a high damage or buy you something nice. But don't let that gift be just because you forgive that person for cheating on you. For my long distance relationship people or my long distance marriage people, always remember that you shouldn't keep things to yourself when you feel like something is going wrong. Voice it out, communicate more, talk about things more. You can even do on video call dinner night or video call date night or whatnot. Just try and make it to be fun. You understand? Try and spice it up. Both of you must make the effort. Okay? For me, my husband and I did no sex till after marriage. And after we got married, I asked myself, I said, hey, what if after I married my husband, his thing was not working? Or what if after my husband married me, he realized that I had a penis and a vagina? Hey, I will advise that. But if you're a virgin, yeah, please wait till after marriage. But if you are not a virgin, I don't even know what to say. I don't know what kind of advice to give you. But I feel like you should test. I'm not saying go and have sex, but try and test your husband or your spouse to see if they can be aroused sexually. You understand? Before you go and find yourself wanting. Which brings me to my next thing. Background checks are very, very important. In the olden days, they used to do a lot of background checks, but now we don't do it. I don't know why. Background checks are very, very important. Family, disease history, all these things are very, very important. Like in the olden days, they really used to go check whether people had madness in their family, whether they had um, diseases that can be passed on to children, but now they don't do it. But I'd like to draw attention to it that this is very, very important for you to do. I already spoke about third party in a marriage. I don't think I need to add anything to it. Never allow a third party in your marriage. Um, Family, even children. Your marriage is between you and your spouse. No third parties allowed. Which brings me to my very next thing. Remember that your children came to meet you both in the relationship or in the marriage. Don't forget about your spouses just because you're busy with your children. I noticed that some men are more drawn to their daughters and tend to talk to their daughters and pay attention to their daughters more than they pay attention to their wives. Some wives tend to pay attention to their sons or the other children, forgetting that they have a husband. Your children will go. They'll grow up, move out of your house just like the way I've moved out of my mother's house in order to go start their own marriages or life. What will be left will be you and your spouse. Never forget that. The next thing I like to say is that don't forget to go on date nights. Don't let life overwhelm you to the extent that you don't even have time for each other. Those times when our mothers and our grandmothers had those kind of boring marriages should end with them. Yours should be different. Even after 15, 20 years, people should be able to look at you and notice that you people love each other. And that's just how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to make sure that the respect is always intact between the two of you. Because respect is very, very important in marriages and relationships. Don't play silly games as in insulting your spouses and call it just a joke. No. Respect in a relationship, respect in a marriage is very, very important. And you must know how to play your games. Do not let your happiness revolve around your spouse. Like I said, have date nights, have your separate friendships. Don't cut people off just because you're married. If you allow your happiness revolve around a human being, it may end up taking you to the mental hospital when they disappoint you or when, God forbid, they die. You must be able to handle your issues. Don't revolve your happiness around your spouse. You must be vigilant and watch the people around you. Because sometimes people tend to come towards your marriage or your relationships and then you don't even notice it. And by the time you notice it, they have spoiled a beautiful thing. So you must always remember to be vigilant. Always. Another thing I'd like to add is don't assume your husband or your spouse must know or your girlfriend must know. Both of you came out from different backgrounds, different upbringing, probably different culture, different tribes. Don't assume that your spouse should know. That is how come it's very, very important for you to communicate. Always communicate. Don't assume. He should know that he's not supposed to do it. How is he supposed to know if you've not communicated to him or her that this person doing this or doing that to you, you don't appreciate it? You must communicate. Don't assume that they will know. Treat each other just like how you want to be treated. Make sure you don't dish what you can't serve. Treat each other with respect, treat each other with love. Don't do things to your partner that you know that if the tables were turned and the person was doing the same thing to you, you won't be able to stomach it. Don't discuss your spouse with family members. People tend to make this mistake all the time. When you discuss um, your friends, your spouse with family members, when you may end up forgiving your spouse, but your family members will never forgive them. They will tend to look at your spouse in a particular kind of way. And there's nothing your spouse can do that to fix that broken relationship. Always, always, always keep things inside. Like I said, it's only you two in the relationship, not three, not four, no family members, no children allowed in here. Don't take your spouses for granted. That's one thing people tend to do. People tend to take their spouses for granted. Some people tend to turn their wives into maids. No problem. Maybe they like it. Some people tend to like to turn their husbands to um, ATMs. No problem at all. Maybe they like it. But the whole point is that when you take your spouses for granted and then they get sick and tired, they will end up getting sick and tired of being sick and tired. And then when that happens, it becomes a problem for you, for your relationship, for your marriage. Sometimes you're able to do nothing. Verbal, physical, emotional, financial abuse is a no-no. Physical abuse is a big, big no-no. I'm sure your family members will prefer you walking to their house than for them to come and carry you in a casket. Hmm? Which brings me to my next thing. Marriage is not a gateway to heaven. Eh? Marriage is not a gateway to heaven. Relationships are not a gateway to heaven. If they are abusive, flee, run, jump, hop, suspend in the air, vanish. Because your parents may fight with you and say, be there. But trust me, they'll prefer you at home being single than being in the casket and being buried in the cemetery. So always remember the marriage is not the gateway to heaven. Don't die in it. If it must fail for you to live, please let it fail. Only a few understand this. When it's time for you to leave, always use your head. Don't tell your spouse you're about to leave them. No, no, no. Gather yourself, prepare yourself. Use 1 year to prepare an exit plan and exit. Another thing I'd like to add is not everything needs a reaction. Be patient, be wise, apply emotional intelligence, but not everything needs a reaction. But certain things need a bulldozer, certain things need a bomb. Certain things need to be faced head on, but not everything deserves a reaction. The last thing I'd like to add is that if you're in the early stage of a relationship, please don't tell your spouse how much you make. It's not your business. Especially females, when you tend to tell your spouses how much they make, they tend to not be responsible and always want you to shoulder a lot of financial burdens. They tend to want a traditional wife but not want to be a traditional man. Traditional man takes care of the home. A traditional man is a high value man. Anyway, that brings me to the end of my video. Don't tolerate nonsense. Don't do things that you don't want to be done to you. Don't be mean. Respect is paramount. Communication is paramount. Take care of each other. Don't allow third party in your relationship or your marriage. And I am sure everything else will be okay. If they misbehave physically, emotionally, financially, if they are cheaters, please leave. Leave. Don't die in a marriage. If you think there's anything that I left out in the don'ts or things not to condone in a relationship, please put them in the comment section. I would really love to read them. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, kindly subscribe. Anyway, as always, it's been time with First Lady, and it's bye for now.